This week we have some dead characters, we have some new characters, and some 80s nostalgia. Let's have some coffee. Awkwardly. Play that intro. No, no. Oh, no, I gotta play it. I'm sorry. Hey, what's going on, you wonderful weirdos? I'm Pocan Joe, and as always, you're pretty cool for swinging by. If this is your first time on the channel, basically what I do is I read a bunch of comic books on Wednesday, and then I drink awkwardly sips of coffee, and then I give you my opinions about them. Truth is, this is just a shrill to get you to come over to Blaster or Stash It. Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we have a live chat where we're going to get a little deeper into these comic books and get multiple views from not only you, but the rest of the panel that will be there. So definitely check that out. So without further ado, let's talk about this week's comic books while I move my coffee cup because it's on the wrong side. I'm a little OCD about that. All right, let's talk about this week. So 80s, some 80s goodness. Oh my God. A Transformer story that I could actually get behind. This was really good. And this is kind of Counterpunch is narrating us a story about the Cybertron Wars, you know, where the Transformers come from and the Autobots and the Decepticons were fighting it out. Although this was kind of weird, the Dinobots were in this. So I'm not sure if it was when they returned to Cybertron because they weren't originally from Cybertron, if you remember the cartoon. I'm not really sure where they're basing the story, and I don't really care. It is really cool. Smart use of the Dinobots in here, kind of being primitive, rough, and gruff, right? But then we're also using Shockwave as the enemy in this, where he's kind of being cunning and slick and science-y. Like he's a science guy, data guy. Really good read. If you didn't get this and you love the old school Transformer stuff, you may want to run out and grab this before it gets bought up. It is definitely a hot story. Really good. Next, going right back into the 80s, kind of sort of. G.I. Joe. Yeah, this is good. So if you like Thor and some ninja fighting, Yo Joe. If you like a good Snake Eyes story, Yo Joe. If you like just sheer determination that makes up Snake Eyes, Yo Joe. And if you like the idea of some mummy dude and Snake Eyes battling it out, Yo Joe. Check this out. Definitely all Yo Joes in this one. This is a good story. I'm really liking this. I want to follow this a little bit more. I was a little nervous that they would make it hinky and weird and it wouldn't fit, but for some reason they did. And we get to see the first G.I. Joe in here. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You'll have to read it yourself. But they did a good job introducing him in here. Great stuff. Again, you can't go wrong when you kind of bring back what makes the characters instead of just making them something else. That's nothing intended on today's comic book writing. Awkwardly staring at you. All right, here we go. Once in Future. This one kind of let me down. I've been really on board with this story so far, but this issue did kind of drop me off a little bit because I thought they just took care of Beowulf just a little too soon. If you don't know, basically we're taking classic stories throughout history and different ways that they've been written, and we're throwing them in here with King Arthur being the antagonist in this, and Merlin being this sneaky trickster, right? So that's kind of that's the archetypes that they're playing at this point. And Beowulf was just a useful idiot at this point. And he was dispatched a little easy. I thought they would drag that out a little bit more, but alas, they did not. So we're moving on to what Merlin's really got planned and all this. Great artwork in this. It's funny when it needs to be funny. One of our main characters, Duncan, is really starting to decide if this is something he really wants to get into. And his quirky Irish grandmother is kind of like, stop being a big, VJ about it. By the way, VJs were people that used to introduce videos on MTV instead of calling them DJs because they were videos. That's what I meant by that. Just in case the YouTube gods are watching. All right, next. Year Zero. So I missed out on issue 2, right? Because comic books finally came back out. Everybody did a rush and just grabbed whatever they could. And, of course, I was running late. But I picked it right up here in issue 3. And it's still good. I really like it. I do have one kind of just thorn in my side. Maybe you read it. If you did, comment below if this makes any sense. So the women in Afghanistan that are escaped and they're trying to survive, they go into a library, right? Or, I'm sorry, the American University, and they're hanging out in the library because they want to read a bunch of books. They want knowledge, right? Because they're under Sharia law and the worst part of Sharia law, I should say. And so that these things are offhand to them. Um, not a priority during a zombie apocalypse. Like I'm just saying, like I'm all about everybody getting educated and learning, but there's a time and place. Like maybe you should have picked up some survival books, weaponry making, how to shoot, things like that. But nevertheless, it was still a good story, and I still enjoyed it. And like that one little thing, I don't know why, it just kind of stuck me wrong. But not a big deal. I can look over that. It wasn't totally ridiculous. Next, Immortal Hulk. This was kind of a boring issue. So we get Betty drama in this. She's a hideous monster, and she thinks she should be loved the same way she did when she was a pretty woman. Awkward sips of coffee. Yeah, you heard it right. And I'm not saying anything about the female form, but she's legitimately a monster in here. I think if you tried to have any type of relationship with it, it would be considered bestiality. I don't even think that's right. Okay, regardless, we're finding out that the leader may know a little bit more than he's letting on about the Green Door. We're kind of starting to roll back into that storyline a little bit, and I'm really keep thinking, do I care? Like this one's just it's a sleeper for me. I don't know. What did you think? Definitely comment down below. Let's see here. Amazing Spider-Man. Hey, remember that Kindred guy that they did the first appearance for, and he kept popping up like every 8th issue since we're on issue 44 now? Well, they just wanted to remind us that he's still around and he can do things in dreams. It's literally just, that was the main story here. Everything was a dream. Our purple-wearing ex-cop is running around in here with a shotgun because he's no joke. Okay, that's great. It would have been cool if, like, I don't know, he did something with it. There was some cool action in here, though. There's a guy, whenever he touches a vehicle or something, it soups it up. And that happened. But for the most part, this one was kind of slacking on me. Let's go ahead and get this Kindred thing over. We've been waiting a while now. We're 44 issues into this. It's time to find out who this guy is and what his beef is with Spider-Man. Like, seriously, we're done. Just tell us the story already. Stop hinting that there is a story while you're, I guess, trying to make it up. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the camera. If it's doing the flicking thing, like I see it on my end that way, if you see that, kind of let me know. I don't know why it's... Is it focusing? I don't know. All right, next, Fantastic Four. I had to go with this cover. Oh, my God. And if you don't know, you would think that that's Wolverine, but it's not. It's Claw Lad. If you read this comic book, you'll get that reference. It was hilarious. Great story. They picked right up off of picking up the kids from the casino that were fighting each other, the Skrull and the, what is it? The Skrull and the Kree kids. Come to find out, they're a little bit more than just two kids that hate each other. They're actually living historians of their history and the battles that they've all fought. I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, now we gave these kids meaning and something. All right, I'm on board. Got it. They get back to Earth and they run into a little bit of a, I don't know, a little bit of a huffle, if you will. And Batman, not Batman, wrong series. And Spider-Man and Wolverine had to come in and give them a hand. It's interesting, it's fun, but then we see the most saddest thing ever where we see Wolverine actually knife down the little girl, not realizing that the Kree and the Skrull are together and she wasn't a bad person. So, again, Wolverine jumping to the quickest answer, I guess, is maybe the lesson here. Don't always jump with your instinct. There we go. Never lead with your instincts. Always rationalize. All right, moving on. Guardians of the Galaxy. I'll be honest with you, I haven't read the last issue in such a long time. I was a little lost in this, but I kind of caught myself back up. So there's two Guardian teams, and both of them have a moon dragon in it, right? The fake one, and then the real one. It's comic book stuff. Don't get hung up on it. All right, so we get their first confrontation where they're going to battle each other out here. And I'll be honest with you, this Marvel Boy kid, it's just weird. If you don't know, he can shoot his thumbnails at you and they explode. And his spit is psychedelic. And we actually see those powers in here. And it was just like, I think I did a video. It's the one where I'm kind of like this, and there's a picture of the kid right here. I can't believe I did that on the right side. Anyway, yeah, it's weird. And then we meet the Prince of Power, who's just as weird. So each team has a weirdo on it, too. Like, just, oh. Weird. So, awkward sips. All right, moving on. All right, let's get to what everybody's been hubbubbing about. Venom number 26. So we get our first appearance of Virus in here, but it's not really going to be a first appearance because apparently the character in this particular Venomized suit, or suit that looks like Venom, because we don't know if it's actually Venomized, knows Eddie Brock and has like a personal vendetta against him. I really like this character and how everything was kind of patched up with duct tape and everything. Look at the thumbnail. That's why I kind of did that. I thought that was really cool. This obviously some guy. Maybe he doesn't know quite what he's got, but he can patch things up. Whatever. I don't care. Also, what we get in this is we get the Maker. And yeah, he's doing things where he gets to go back home, back to where the Ultimates, if you remember that storyline. So back to that whole deal. And he also drags in Virus, Venom, and Dylan. They're all there. So where does that take us next in the whole Null thing? I don't know how they're going to make that connection. It may be after this small side story that all that starts happening. Regardless, if you haven't been reading Venom, you need to get caught up because there's a lot of stuff coming our way. And especially if you're a comic book speculator, a lot of good stuff coming this way. All right. Next, Avengers. So we're moving on with the Moon Knight storyline here with Khonshu. This is interesting to some degree. I think it's taken out of continuity of everything else because it wouldn't make any sense. But if you don't know, Khonshu is the god of the moon, so he can control like Mjolnir now, and there's all these powers that Moon Knight went and took from all of his friends, right? So he's kind of feeling down, but he has a lot of faith that he's doing the right thing, right? The whole faith thing, again, being played with Moon Knight. Is it faith or is it mental health? What is it exactly? And he's even got his best friend caged up, or not his best friend, but at least somebody he can kind of sort of respect. He's got Black Panther chained up in this thing. I loved it when the breaking of the chains and the whole thing that Black Panther did in this. I thought that was really cool. Really loved this storyline. I love where it's going. But again, it doesn't really fit into anything else. So don't think that this are gonna like, oh, we're gonna tell the same story. That's not gonna happen because comic books. All right. Next, and you just saw it. This is the one in. This is 2 per store variant. I'm sorry, party variant. Yeah, Empire. I like it. Well, I say that now. I could change. With the understanding that I can change my mind later. Right now, I kind of like this storyline. I thought we were going to do another big epic conclusion where 2 hero teams are going to fight each other and the Skrull and no. Complete flip in this one. We actually are Avengers and Fantastic Four team. Yes, from that one over there. They actually team up to fight Hulkling in this and his Skrull Kree army. The Skrull Kree army need to stop the I'm going to try this. Cotates? If you can spell it phonetically in the chat, please do. Or not in the chat, in the comments below, please do. Anyway, the Garden People, right? Who seemed like they were being attacked by this big, massive empire. Well, come to find out, they were the bad guys. Spoiler warning. I know you're supposed to say that first, but I don't know how things work on the interwebs. Anyway, so they're actually kind of douchebags, and they want to take over the entire galaxy. And the whole reason why the Skrull and the Kree got together was so this wouldn't happen by destroying this garden that had this magical plant that made their prophet, religious figure, be this evil guy. And now all the superheroes are like, oh, we were trying to stop the Kree, but we should have been stopping them. Lessons learned. Don't judge a book by its cover. What will happen next? I'm actually kind of on board. I'll say it. I'm kind of on board. I want to read some more of this. Not all the tie-ins. Let me be clear on that one too. God, they're going to try and tie everything into this. I'm not hearing all that mess. All right, last but not least, my only DC book this week is Dark Metal, Heavy Metal. This is the 1 in 25. I'm trying to get all the 1 in 25s where it's like each one playing like a death metal instrument. It's a weird story, right? Like you've probably already read this, even after you've seen this. This is kind of, but I think that's the point of it. I love the vague references that like everything is a Batman in some way, shape, or form. Really like Batman trying to raise out of the grave various DC superheroes from back in the day. They even mentioned Uncle Sam, the Human Bomb, that whole team, and various other ones as well. I thought that was kind of cool, kind of like a little, we know you exist in this, even in this universe, we know you exist. So hopefully they come together with a plan to stop what is now Darkest Night. So basically what happens when you take the Batman Who Laughs and you take his brain out and you stick it in Dr. Manhattan, you get the Darkest Night, right? Real metal, right? That whole thing. Good story. It's ridiculous. It's whimsical in a heavy metal sort of way. I know that doesn't make any... Well, if you remember the heavy metal movie, right, it's kind of whimsical in that fashion. Really fun, really great story, a lot of great points in it. So we'll hit up all these books on Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube, over at Blaster to Stash It. Be sure to swing by. Love to see you. Love to talk comic books with you. Other than that, folks, I don't have anything else going on. I got to fly. Talk to you later. Bye.